You know, what's great about like a catering business, when your oven's parked, you're not paying rent.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Catering and pop-ups is like, it's a huge amount of business. I always tell people, just stay there. Don't open up a brick and mortar.
Right.
You know, you
Yeah,
go to the
yeah.
people, you know?
It happens, for 20 grand, you can start a business and try it out.
Yeah.
See if you like it.
The following podcast is a Pie to Pie production.
Every slice tells a story.
This episode is brought to you by Maestro Sausage, the only sausage we use at Hot Tongue. They produce sausages specifically with pizzerias in mind, and you can tell. So if your sausage isn't hitting all the right notes, let Maestro lead the way. Flat iron pepper. When you pop these peppers, you are gonna know. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can taste it. They are liberating pizzerias from low quality pepper flakes. Stop finishing your pizza with crap. Head to flatironpepper.com and join the Pepper Flake revolution. Slice is building tools now to support the independent pizzeria, and not just Slice users, but the independent pizzeria industry as a whole. Like us, they are telling the stories of the independent pizza shop owners and ultimately creating tools that help the small guy compete with the big chains. This business can be lonely, but with Slice, you can be in business for yourself, not by yourself. This episode is brought to you by Karen Spring Mills. It's not your average flour. They stone mill everything, which means enhanced flavors, preserved nutrients, and embraces a more traditional, sustainable way of doing things, all qualities that I want in my dough and in my restaurant. They're here to help you bake your best. Better pizza, better future.
I just want to know kind of how you go from building kitchens in California, outdoor kitchens, to now we're sitting in a booth just surrounded by some of the best equipment in the pizza industry. And was this ever a vision when you were doing that? Because obviously that was a first step of many, but from what I understand, that's kind of how this started out.
I mean, 25 years ago, there was not a lot of people looking at wood-fired ovens, but I started a company building outdoor kitchens for people in California, Northern California, wine country. Did it for wineries and did it, people's backyards. And, 25 years ago, people there were starting to get into that because an outdoor kitchen was something great. And then I started putting ovens in them, and, I had a bunch of fun with it because, I love building stuff. But, I love cooking. I was a chef. And
Yeah,
so
they came from that world.
Yeah, I came from that world. So I combined two things and made like a job that's, that you can only dream of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that led you to New York?
Then I ended up buying property in
That's
Europe.
right, in Europe, and you wanted to be closer.
Yeah, and I wanted to be close. I didn't want to do that 13-hour flight.
Yes.
And so went to New York, and basically 15 years ago, I started building one oven at a time in my garage and deliver it to people. And today we're in a 20,000 square foot facility building ovens.
So like, was there that vision when you were like, you're building this oven in your garage? Did you have the idea that, yeah, I'd be at Pizza Expo, yeah, like I would have some of the hottest ovens, yeah, my trailer is going to be like the most sought after mobile catering trailer there is? Like, were those things, or was it kind of like, we'll see where this goes?
I literally always in life, I take things as they flow. And, that's a much easier way of living.
100%. Yes.
Than putting stress on yourself, like, you got to do this, you got to do that.
It's true. It's just, I feel like as like a lot of entrepreneurs, it's always like more, what's next? And sometimes that, well, I'd say a lot of the times that can lead to failures because you're so hungry to do something else, and you're not even enjoying.
So when you turn your dream job into a rat race, then, it's...
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I make jokes like I learned how to make pizza on YouTube. Like there's so much content out there to become a great pizza person these days. You can get a book, you can get on YouTube, but how do you learn how to build an oven?
Right. Well, basically,
Did you Google it?
Getting very interested in it and going to Italy and hanging out with the right people and, learning, about refractory material. love history. So learning that that there were no refractory ovens until right after the Second World War.
Yeah.
And and then knowing that the levels of alumina and silica that need to be in there need to be balanced in such a way that you get a perfect, that you can actually bake a perfect pizza in there, because there's a lot of refractory materials out there, and they're really meant to bake ceramic in, not pizza.
Yeah.
And so
It's like a kiln.
yeah,
It like kind of looks similar.
exactly. So.
So it was basically trips to Italy and
Yeah, trips to Italy, and then I became very friendly with the Pavesi family.
Okay, that's
outside
nice.
Modena,
Good friend to have.
and we just started really the relationship 25 years ago.
And so when did just building oven after oven become like a bigger thing?
It became a bigger thing for me when after I was approached by the Acunto family
Okay.
for me to have their brand in North America.
Okay.
And that's my vision was like a recognition, like, hey, they trust this Dutch guy in the United States to
To take care of business.
Yeah. So, and then with that, I got unbelievable clients like Anthony Mangieri,
Yeah.
and Dan from Raza.
Yep.
He came to me, and
Some heavy hitters
he wanted me to build something really special for his style of pizza, and which we did. He needed a ton of refractory in his oven.
Yeah.
And to really hold on to that heat. But so it became in that way more and more interesting, because now I started to get closer to the guys that make the pizza and really are recognized for what they do.
Yeah, of course.
And
and those are two huge giants in the industry too.
Right.
Dan Richer is like the guy's a scientist.
Yes,
He
yes.
knows everything about his dough. Probably knows a lot about his oven. Why the oven works the way it does. Why his water, his pH levels. So, good dude.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have every model of everything now. There's an electric deck oven over there. You have natural gas ovens. You have electric dome ovens. There's wood fire ovens. There's something for everyone over here.
Yeah, we basically do have something for everyone, and and then also, experimenting with the style of pizza that you can make in that, because there are no written laws on this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And that's the great part of this all. I lived sort of like through the factor of like, I used to build ovens in a town, and then the moment that the place opened up, Uncle Vicente and Uncle Joey, originally from Italy, they would come to the place and they would drill it in the ground, because it wasn't the pizza that's where they came from. And so I've lived through this space where now the Italian was taken out of the oven, and so it became a product where a lot of people can have fun with, because there are no rules.
Yeah.
And it's a canvas. You can the dough is on its own, and then what you do with it after it's on its own. So it's like you can be as artistic with it as you want to be.
Yeah, 100%. Especially now more than ever, because all of these ovens, listen, they produce heat, but they do it in such a way that you're going to get many different products out of each one.
Right.
And we're coming from a land of, it used to just be like you get a Baker's Pride or a Blah Jet, or you get like a wood fire burning oven, and like that's pretty much it. And I think like everyone's gotten so nerdy too. Like Dan Richer is definitely like a nerdy dude, but so is Anthony Mangieri. You have to like nerd out on all this stuff, and like I think like where things are going, and we haven't even gotten to like the AI stuff, but like having all these things available, pizza's only gotten better, and people breaking rules. And I like that you said there are no rules, because I don't think there's rules. I think a dough is a blank canvas. It literally is a thing that you can do whatever you want. That's what makes pizza so good is as long as you put love and care into it, it's gonna be delicious.
Exactly. And, that's what I enjoy. I see, new clients, and then, I go over to the place and I see what they're doing with it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, great, it's
Yeah.
like,
When you put out the mobile pizza oven, the trailer that you have, was there a lot of other mobile trailers at the time? I've been using Karen Spring flour for years now. It's been a complete game changer. It comes from an incredible mill in Washington State where they stone mill regeneratively grown grains into some of the most flavorful flour I've ever worked with. They stone mill everything, which means enhanced flavors, preserved nutrients, and embraces a more traditional, sustainable way of doing things. You can feel it the second you open the bag. It's not your average flour. It has color. Do you ever look at a white dough ball? A white dough ball makes no sense. Grain is not white. Open up a bag of Karen Springs and take a look at Mother Earth. Karen Spring operates a social purpose corporation. Legally, they're prioritizing impact over profit. That's pretty powerful. Whether it's your main flour or you want to just blend it, using Karen Springs is going to introduce new flavors you've never tasted before. It helps reshape the food system one bake at a time. We choose Karen Springs because we believe that great ingredients are not just a tagline, it's a commitment. And yes, it does cost more, but like anything worth doing, you get what you pay for. Our dough program is the foundation of what we sell. It's my calling card, and it starts with great grain. Be part of something better. Really use the best ingredients. Karen Springs isn't just flour. It's a belief in the makers, the millers, and the movement. Use code PIE2PIE for 15% off your first order at karenspring.com. Some of us in the pizza industry might only know Slice from the online ordering app, which is still around, but Slice is doing a lot more these days. They're building tools now to support the independent pizzeria, and not just Slice users, but the independent pizzeria industry as a whole. They're telling the stories of pizza shop owners, creating resources, and ultimately products that help the smaller guy compete with the bigger chains. Slice now has an integrated POS system that's specifically designed for pizzerias. They're doing stuff like SEO, marketing, and full website build-outs, along with custom box pricing that you are going to get probably way lower than what you're paying for right now. They have a ton of resources for every owner. Buying power is a huge thing, especially when you're talking about big chains. And what Slice allows you to do is negotiate with suppliers and vendors to get a lower rate. That's what the Slice network allows. There's 24/7 tech support for customer care, and an extension of your staff is what they call it. This business can be lonely, as you all know if you listen to this podcast, but it doesn't have to be. With resources provided by Slice, you can be in this business for yourself, but not by yourself.
I think I'm one of the first ones, literally 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I built a mobile unit that's, it was probably more like a tanker. The thing was like so over-engineered, heavy and everything, but the thing worked. But then I learned, through all the steps to get the weight down on the units that we have now. And, now we have units that have a 120 size oven on them, and, you can pull them with a regular car.
Well, it's unbelievable because I think even when you're talking about pizza ovens that you were building in California in back kitchens, I think there's been just this huge evolution in the last 25 years, because when pizza became this thing that you could do at home, you'd have to have a pretty good pocket change to have a homemade oven built for you back in the day. But
Right.
now, with these other home ovens, everyone can cook in their backyard now. But with the trailer, I mean, that was kind of like the evolution to all of these pop-ups, how to do all these caterings. The barrier of entry is much smaller, and you're cooking commercial, beautiful pies out of this trailer, blowing people's minds. It's something that's, I think, is totally flipped the industry on its head a little bit, because you could start with the trailer, you can get a brick and mortar, continue with your trailer. You have two businesses going on.
It happens, so there's people that, they want to try it. And then, so literally for, 20 grand, you can start a business and try it out.
Yeah.
See if you like it. You know, I know one guy that came out of financing world, and one day he said, "I'm going to make pizza." This guy runs now 4 giant trucks, and he only works 7 months out of the year.
Yeah, because you can. I mean, you make that investment. Obviously, there's other investments, but somebody said to me yesterday, like, you know, what's great about like a catering business is that like when your oven's parked, you're not paying rent.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're the overhead. You kind of take that whole
Yeah,
situation
yeah,
out. Like
yeah.
catering and pop-ups is like it's a huge amount of business. I always tell people just stay there. Don't open up a brick and mortar.
Right.
You know, you
Yeah,
go to the
yeah.
people. You know,
Yeah.
because it's also really impressive when you pull up with that oven. You see the flames, the dome. I think it's people get very impressed by that when
Yeah.
you're cooking on site too.
Yeah, I remember originally when I was in California, I started building these mobiles, and at one point I had 3 of them myself, and I was running them into the vineyards in Northern California, and I got so busy with it that all of a sudden I was like, what am I gonna do here? Am I gonna bake pizza, or am I gonna build ovens? So I sold it
Yeah,
to another guy, and I kept making ovens.
could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the ovens are great. I just recently worked with a guy, Nick Camacho from Lucky Nick's. He has one of the mobile ovens,
Yeah.
and it's my favorite pizza, like in the Southern California area. But it's just like everything he's pulling out. I mean, wood fire is also just like an art. There's the art of the flame, like maintaining that. There is something very romantic about that.
Yeah.
But they're great ovens. I gotta say.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone that has those ovens, they love them because it's a little lower dome as well, so you can do a real good Neapolitan in it, and and if you turn the flame down a little bit, you can go a little longer and do even a New York style.
Yeah, he gets this like really nice, like puffy, beautiful leopardine and stuff, but it's still like he gets a nice caramelized bottom still,
Right.
And so there's some crunch there. It's not like a typical like a little doughier Neapolitan. It's really nice. That's the thing about it. Is like once you can dial all those tools into to
Exactly.
the way that you want.
Yeah.
Did Falco have one of your mobile ovens, or was that a different company?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has baked out of
Yeah.
plenty of them. The Roberta's group, they have like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know that like when those even when those things came out and people were like, dude, you got to check out this trailer. Like this dude's like just cooking at a festival. Like
Right.
he's cooking fucking some of the best pizza out of this trailer. And it's like, because you don't think of pizza as a street food. At least I never did. Like I would think like tacos or hot dogs or whatever. But like it's completely changed. It's like flipped. It's it's flipped.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you see, it's funny because now you're driving on the road and you see them regularly.
Yeah,
now.
it's
like,
way more normal now.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about, because before we hopped on the pod, the AI, the artisanal intelligence, right? Artisan intelligence.
That's what we came up with. We call it artisanal intelligence.
I like the play on the AI.
Yeah.
I think kind of what we said is that you said like, why are you trying to, like, people would be like, are you going to take my job, blah, 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 like 3 or 4 years ago. And then people today are just coming out here and be like, I'll take 5 of those.
Exactly. 3-4 years ago, with our dough stretcher, and the people were like yelling at me like, you're taking our job away, and you're ruining this art, and and then COVID and everything we went through, and all of a sudden the labor went out of control, and then there was no labor anymore. So, and people still want to open up places. And if you look at at this product, where we're not only taking care of the labor factor, because you can put someone on this product that is not as skilled as you would normally need to have someone.
Yeah.
And you get consistency.
Yep.
So someone that's really looking to multiply this, they can do it, because this product, everything is you. It's your dough, your hydration, the way how you want to make it. It's the baking temperature that you want, the baking time. You pick it all. You set it.
Yeah.
And the unit will do exactly what you want.
Yeah.
So I didn't develop something that is a robot that's only going to do it, the way it wants to do it. No. this is still you doing it.
Well, I think it's just like a foreign thing to think about because we use ovens to bake the dough, and like you use a slicer as a tool. And if you just thought about a pizza press being an extension of that, or the oven, like the conveyor being an extension, it's just another tool to help better your consistency and the flow of your workplace. I just think it has been so foreign, and the technology has never been good enough. Like there hasn't been a conveyor with stones because you can use some screens, you can get some bottom heat, but it's hard to get like a crispier crust. You can use other pizza presses, but like it usually smashes the shit out of your dough.
Right.
Like the life of it's gone, and like it'll still bake up, but it's not exactly what you want. But like now with like the Opera Premium, it's like you got like little balls in there, and like it comes out as the air.
They're fingers,
Yeah.
and and they touch your dough just like you would do with your hands, and it keeps the air in it, so it keeps a super natural looking baked products. After you bake that, and then the oven part. The fact that we can reach 860 degrees in that oven is tremendous, and then the refractory stone on that takes water on. So literally we were we're baking here all day long, pies, 3 minutes, super crisp, and people are just they're like staring out there, like somebody's fooling us here, and like no, this is real.
Yeah.
So I said it's AI, artisanal intelligence, but
I know you were telling me like people, it's like selling itself. People are just, it's because you're not used to also seeing a pie come out of a conveyor
exactly
looking like that.
Exactly. People are staring out, looking at it, and they're like, I don't need any explanation.
Yeah.
I see exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
needs to tell me like this or that. No, it's clear as day. Yeah.
And you think that definitely is, it's like kind of like the right timing for all of this stuff.
Do you find it as crazy as I do that we put the best ingredients in our pizza, our dough, our cheese, toppings, fresh produce, and then we put pencil shavings on our tables called red chili flakes? What is a red chili flake? We found out about flat iron premium pepper flakes from a customer who actually brought us some. We were putting it on every slice we ate. It was gold. We were like searching for it like addicts in the back, just like, ooh, where's the flat iron? Where's the flat iron? There is no going back. When you pop these peppers, you are gonna know. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can taste it. The 4-pepper blend, which is actually the blend we have on every table at Hot Tongue, definitely has a higher heat level, and I'm a heat guy, if you know what I'm saying. It has the arbol, the jalapeno, the ghost, and the habanero. Spicy. They are liberating pizzerias from low quality pepper flakes. Flat iron pepper, you are going to know the difference. In here, real peppers from Italy. Let's go. Head to flatironpepper.com right now. Use the code pie to pie at checkout. That's pie, number 2, pie at checkout. And any order over $25 is going to get you a bottle free of the sweet heat. Put that sweet heat in your cart, and any order over $25, that baby's gonna be free. Do not miss this chance to upgrade your pepper game. Head to flatironpepper.com right now and join the Pepper Flake revolution. If your sausage needs aren't hitting all the right notes, then let Maestro lead the way. Maestro has been working closely with pizzerias for decades. They produce sausages designed specifically with pizzerias in mind. And you can tell their Italian sausage crumbles look like they were handmade in your shop, and they will taste that way as well. With over 80 years in business, family owned and operated, the family is incredible, and so is their product. It's quality sausage with quality ingredients. Click the link in the show notes. A classical masterpiece awaits you. Back to the show.
I think so. Just looking at the people that are coming after us on the products, yeah, absolutely.
Would you say that has sales on these things been higher in the last year or two than they have in the last 4?
So I was never in this footprint. I always believed to stick into the artisanal side of the business. And when I saw that this product was perfected, I was like, okay, this is the time for me to go after this and make it happen. And I don't want to be like a used car salesperson, and say like, oh yeah, this works, that works. No, it's like I think all my products are here because I personally believe in them, and they do an artisanal job to the products that come out of it.
I mean, I think you can tell. I mean, I think that's why everyone's mind's blown.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're looking at something that our brains are used to being like, oh yeah, that's like a conveyor. That's what you would see at a Domino's.
Right.
And it's like, well, that ain't Domino's pizza coming out of that thing. So
Right.
what the fuck's going on here?
Right. Well, this is what you do. You open up across the street from Domino's with this. and
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the price point wise stuff, do you think people are going to first of all, do you think that this technology is going to be copied? That there's going to be a lot more of these stone conveyors
There's
coming
probably
out?
going to be more, but the thing is like we're not sitting still. We're developing.
There's
we keep
there's
going.
other things on the horizon, of course.
And I'll promise you, if you stick with us, we'll stick to you.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure that you stay in good shape. But yeah, I mean, anyone that can get a second mortgage on his house can purchase this.
Yeah.
And and start his own pizzeria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about automation a lot. Everybody in the pizza world's kind of talking about it. And it's like, I worked in a kitchen recently. I've never worked with a conveyor. They had a conveyor. It wasn't a stone conveyor, but just the way that they had everything dialed in, what would take me 6 people with my deck oven, they did with 2. It's
Right.
just, it's really unbelievable, the processes and the systems that you can develop with the technology that's out there, especially with that, what do you call the blue thing?
The blue thing is the moving make table.
The moving make table where
Yeah,
you're just throwing pies on
you
there.
throw your pie on there and you top them off, and you don't worry about them anymore. They automatically get transferred into the oven, and that's it.
When you were developing when the Opera Prima was, how long has the Prima been around for?
So it has been around 5 years.
Okay, so it's still
Yeah.
fairly new too.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this technology like? There's no other pizza press that is doing this.
There's
this
nothing
either.
out there, and the whole system is patented, so
Of course, so no one's touching it.
nobody can touch it.
I mean, you do electric and gas in the.
We do electric and gas. I prefer electric.
Okay.
If you can bake static baking is always better than when air gets pushed around in a product like that.
Yeah.
So, 80 amp is what you need for one deck. So
One deck, 80 amps,
Yeah.
and they stack on top of each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can stack them 3 high.
Yeah, I've told you I got to meet Andy from Andy's Pizza.
Right.
And he's a full-blown, he's
And
a
he
crazy.
stacks them everywhere.
Crazy man. Yeah, he do some wild stuff,
Yeah,
dude. But
yeah.
I mean, he just told me a story. Like when he came out, he said he saw the technology. He's like, I want 11 of those.
Right.
Yeah. His operation is crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
He's got one of these, I think.
Yeah, he's got one of those. I mean, he brought, a couple of dough boxes full of dough to our facility. He ran a few of them through, and he's like, okay, we're done. He's like, where do I sign?
Yeah. That's a good dude.
And obviously, it's working. I mean, he keeps on opening up
More and
places. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
because
he has
he's-
another 3 on the board. Yeah,
That's insane.
yeah.
Do you know how many units he has?
I think he has, close to 30 of the conveyors and at least 12 to 14 of the
That's unbelievable.
Opera Primas.
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Is there any downfall in the conveyor? Do the bricks break or anything?
If you work with dough that's at room temperature, and that's what you want to do anyway, and you keep water away from it, and then there's really nothing that's going to go wrong with it. Yeah. No, it's very well built.
How often do you cook pizza?
I mean, I got my office upstairs at my facility, but almost every day I turn an oven on and I slap some dough. And,
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You just got dough on deck all the time in the office.
Yeah, and I'm always making some new dough and messing around with stuff. And the other day I made actually a dough, and I was like, you know what? So I wanted to make this dough, and Like we're basically talking flour, water, salt, and yeast, and then some olive oil. I was like, why don't I take the salt and the olive oil out and I put anchovies in my dough
Okay, for the salt content.
and hold back on your yeast and let this ferment. Super interesting thing came out of it.
I bet it did.
Yeah,
I bet it
super
did. Did you
interesting.
get a good rise, or was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, a little long
Got a
fermentation.
good
on it?
rise, and then this flavor that was in this crust was like,
Oh, I bet.
wow. Yeah.
Did you pulse the
Yeah,
anchovies?
puree it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to give that a go.
So,
we're gonna
yeah.
need that
So
recipe.
I like messing around with stuff like that.
Well, you came from did you work at Michelin star restaurants?
Originally I was a pastry chef.
Yeah.
And but before I left the Netherlands, I became a teacher in culinary arts.
Okay.
And so I was a chef as well. And so I cooked. I'm a James Beard chef, great chefs of the South. I was one of the founders of New Southern Cuisine.
Nice.
And,
Nice.
So
you're still cooking.
I still
You
cook.
never stop cooking.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's in your
Don't-
blood.
Yeah.
Where was the piece of property in Europe that you bought?
Spain.
It's in Spain.
Yeah. Spain. I got olive trees there, and
It's
it's like
beautiful.
love hanging out there. Yeah.
Good
And that's where I
food,
dream a
good
lot
weather.
of stuff up. Yeah. I made a coconut creme brulee pizza
In Spain?
in Spain.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
How often do you go back to the Netherlands?
I try to go once a year at least.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mom's still there, so
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I've only been across the pond when I was like 20 years ago, but Netherlands and Spain were my favorite places.
Right.
The energy in Spain was something I had never ever experienced in my life.
Yeah.
It was like some of the most special 4 days of my life.
Yeah.
Just
No,
it's a completely different
they're
lifestyle.
cool. I like that northern part of Spain, Catalonia.
Mm-hmm.
Super artistic people there. I mean, it's very inspirational. You can just feel it when you're there,
You lived there prior to coming to California?
Yeah. So when I was a chef, one day I was doing a wine dinner for Rodney Strong and his wife.
Okay.
They were in my dining room, and so we're doing the appetizer, and I always try to come up with like crazy stuff that's like, something that you would never order when it's on the menu. But
yeah.
hey, on a wine dinner, you're forced to try it.
Yeah.
So I made a strawberry marinara sauce.
Okay.
So what I did was I took the tomato out and put strawberries back in for that, because they have the same level of acidity.
Okay.
And I made pasta, and so everything else was still in there: the olive oil, garlic, pepper, salt, and then I made a pasta dish with it, with some cheese on top, and then so they're sitting in the dining room, and everybody's basically ready to put their second bite in their mouth, and Rodney Strong's wife Charlotte stands up, and she bangs on her glass for attention, everyone, and she tells everyone in the dining room, "You guys better make this man the mayor of your town, or he is going to leave." So that was a hilarious thing. But after the wine dinner, they came to me, Rodney and his wife, and they're like, "All right, you ready? Let's go." And so that's how I went to California.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story. And were you living in Northern California?
Northern California, Healdsburg.
Do you ever miss living in California?
I loved Healdsburg, but as soon as I started living there, all the money started rolling in, and I was like, man, they just ruined a good thing.
Yeah, California. They like to ruin good things.
Yeah.
Since 2021, I've had the privilege of consulting on projects across the country, helping operators fine-tune their dough, systems, and everything in between. I take it seriously because I know what it's like to build something from scratch. It can be terrible and lonely. Plenty of folks reach out just to talk shop, and I'm always down to share what I know. But if you're ready to take things to the next level, the next step of improving or launching your business, I offer a full menu of consulting services, from dough doctoring to dialing in your systems, policies, and workflow. So head over to alexkoons.com to get in touch. Let's build something together. Better pizza for everyone.
Well, is there outside of like the AI technology, is there anything else you can talk about that we may not know about, or? Something you're excited about coming down the pipeline?
I mean, I'm further developing the AI product.
Yep.
I'm looking at automation for, where I'm going to help out on the food cost side for it. So a dispenser that's puts the right amount of sauce on a pie that just hangs over the table. And,
I love it.
And a dispenser for cheese where basically you present your hands under this thing and it drops the amount of cheese that needs to go on the pie.
Sign me up.
So
basically, what I envision maybe at some point is this whole system is kind of like you're going down like basically a factory line where like maybe your line lines up right to it.
Right.
You got the prima, you got your dough, the sauce hits it, you get your cheese like hand sanitizer. Fuck, I love that. That's a great idea.
So constantly, I'm going to constantly add on to that to perfect the product. But what I do promise is that however the line looks now will not change.
Yeah.
So, but the add-ons are all able to get added on, and work with this.
You know what I love that you're behind this company is because I think that you're trying to build all these systems with integrity to the craft.
Right.
Like it's not just like let's make an easier way to just make money. It's like let's figure out how to work smarter and not harder.
Right.
And that's all we can do as entrepreneurs. Like our life is already hard enough getting out of bed.
Exactly.
Everyone's is, and being able to make our jobs easier and more efficient and still being able to have that quality is something I'm very excited about.
Yeah. It's, going back to, that I worked for a couple of years in the Netherlands as a product developer in the baking industry. Mm-hmm. And I was working for this manufacturer of half products. And this guy, his philosophy was that, he's like, I got this great recipe. Now I'm going to build a machine that can make this product with it. So he would not change the recipe on things, but he would change the machine and let the machine make that.
Yeah.
So his philosophy stands with me. I learned a lot from this man. And, and that's sort of like what I try to do here as well.
Well, it shows. And I think that's why people will choose this. That's why you'll figure out a way to finance this equipment, because if you want to keep up your standards and if you want to keep that quality, then you would just stick with all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, financing $1,600 a week, a month, not a week, a month.
I mean, it's available. I mean, you get on board now, or you're going to get on board later. But I think this is the future. There's labor is margins are up. Labor is harder to get, and the equipment's getting better. So it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. We were in Atlanta a few weeks ago, and I had one of the guys that works at Antico. Mm-hmm. He came to the booth to make the pizzas on the AI line, and I used Antico's dough, which is wood-fired, and but we were running it through this oven, and people were just blown away by it, and like they couldn't believe it. And on the end of the 3 days, the guy that worked on the line, he was like, "I'm so sad. I got to go back to work tomorrow."
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Like you'd get used to it.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you for making time for us. I know that you've been busy
Absolutely.
On the show floor. You're a busy man. I'm excited about all these products. I'm very hyped. I think, as you know, your booth is banging. It's busy. A lot of people are excited, but I just am very happy that we got to connect, and I appreciate your time.
Same here. Absolutely. Thank you for dropping by.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much.